Hello everyone and welcome to our first lesson, Context Clues. So before we proceed to our discussion, I have two special reminders for all of you. First is to get a notebook, a notepad, or a scratch paper and jot down all the important details that you need to know or remember. Second is to focus. Happy learning!
Explore, engage, enjoy. Less can, more can, you can do it. This is Learn English Online with Ma'am Alice.
Since March 2020, we were trapped inside our homes to stay safe and sound during this time of COVID-19 pandemic. For several months of being in lockdown, have you found new hobbies to do? Or have you gone back to the old hobbies that you still like to do? Does that include reading? Very well. Have you experienced reading something that you don't understand because it includes unfamiliar words? How are you able to understand its meaning? What techniques have you incorporated to grasp the gist of a certain sentence or paragraph? In this lesson, the last question shall be answered. Let's start with Lesson 1, Context Clues. Presented on your screens is the most essential learning competencies or MELCs that we are addressing in this lesson. What are context clues? A context clue is a word or phrase in the same sentence or a nearby sentence that can help the reader decipher the meaning of an unfamiliar word. Here are the steps to decipher the meaning of a sentence. First, reread and read ahead. Stop and reread the words that come before and after the unfamiliar word. Second, identify context clues. Think about the meaning of the words in the text that surround the unfamiliar word. Third, decide on a meaning. Use what you know from the context to make an educated guess about the meaning of an unfamiliar word. Fourth, check the meaning in the context. The meaning you decided on should make sense in the sentence and in relation to the main idea of the text. What are the types of context clues? We have 5 types of context clues. Those are definition and restatement, second synonym, inference, example and explanation, and antonym opposite or contrast. Let's first have definition or restatement. This type of context clues refers to the meaning of the vocabulary word that is in the sentence itself. This is usually following the vocabulary word. Here are some examples of the definition or restatement. Jack's duplicity, crafty dishonesty, caused him to steal his co-workers' pensions by funneling their money into an offshore account. The dashes here set off the definition of the word duplicity, which is crafty dishonesty. Second example. The arbitrator, the neutral person chosen to settle the dispute, arrived at her decision. The meaning of the word arbitrator is the neutral person chosen to settle the dispute, which is after the comma. Third example. The police prevented the robbers' plans. The word thwart means prevent. Fourth, Ren was lethargic. She didn't have the energy to get out of bed. Lacking of energy or enthusiasm is what lethargic means. Last example, the dates are listed in chronological order. They start at the beginning and end with the last event. Chronological is an adjective which means starting with the earliest and following order in which they occurred. Second type of context clues, we have synonyms. Here, the sentence uses a similar word to help explain the meaning of the vocabulary word. What are the examples of synonym? First, the baseball coach punished the team's duplicity or deceitfulness after they admitted to using steroids to boost their batting averages. Deceitfulness is one of the synonyms of the word duplicity. The slender woman who was so thin her clothes were too big on her. The word slender is synonymous to the word thin. It was an idyllic day, sunny, warm, and perfect for a walk in the park. The word idyllic is derived from the word ideal, which means idealized, extremely happy, or peaceful and can be synonymous to the words sunny, warm, and perfect. She hums continuously or all the time, and it annoys me. All the time in this sentence can also mean continuously. Fifth example, the crime he committed was egregious. He'll never recover from this horrendous scandal. The word egregious can also mean horrendous. Here's a note. When an author uses synonym or definition type of clues, he or she will say the same thing twice, once with a more difficult one, and then again in a simpler way, often right in the same sentence. Sometimes, the author will add very specific words to tell us an explanation is upcoming. If you don't understand a word in a sentence, keep reading. A restatement clue may be coming right up. The next type of context clues that we have is antonym, opposite, or contrast. Here, the sentence uses a word with an opposite definition to give the meaning of the vocabulary word. First example, it was your duplicity that caused me to break up with you. Had you been honest, I wouldn't have felt the need. Based on the example given earlier, duplicity means deceitfulness. Therefore, honesty or honest is one of its antonyms. Second, unlike my last employee who had integrity to spare, you have nothing more than duplicity and will not receive a recommendation from me for another job. Here, the word duplicity is non-synonymous to the word integrity, meaning those two words are opposite. Third, unlike Yanni's room, which was immaculate, Era's room was very messy. In this sentence, immaculate means clean, making the word messy or dirty its antonyms. For the fourth example, whereas Johnson is quite lithe, his brother Jairus is clumsy and awkward. In this example, the word lithe means gracefulness or graceful. Therefore, clumsy can mean ungracefulness or ungraceful. For the last example, the vast mall cannot be compared to the tiny boutique. Vast pertains to very great extent. Meanwhile, tiny means small, making the two words non-synonymous to one another. Here's the note. Antonym, contrast, or opposite type of clues give us hints to the meaning of words by telling us what they're not. Often the word but is included in the sentence to tell us that an opposite thought is about to be presented. That opposite is the antonym we're looking for. Point out the antonym while reading, then ask yourself, what's the opposite? Let's proceed to the third type of context clues. We have example or explanation. This type of context clue uses example to help the reader infer the meaning of the vocabulary word. Let's have examples. Example 1. His duplicity involved lowering his employee's salary, increasing their stock options, and then stealing the money he saved by doing so. The examples stated on the sentence are some of the reasons why a person can be labeled as duplicitous because he or she showed duplicity. Second, I was aghast at her duplicity when she stole my diamond earrings, sold them on eBay, and lied to me about it the whole time. The examples stated in numbers 1 and 2 are some of the reasons why a person can be labeled as duplicitous. The decor, including the fancy lights, beautiful paintings, and unique furniture, made the house look stunning. The word decor generalizes the lights, paintings, furnitures, and etc., which can be found inside a room or establishment. The team was elated because they just found out they placed in the semifinals. During a contest, one of the reasons why a team would be very happy is when they ranked as one of the winners. During the demonstration, a skirmish broke out so the police were called to restore order. In this example, the word skirmish means episode of irregular or unpremeditated fighting. So when a skirmish broke out, police officers are called to rescue. Here's the note. In example type of clues, the authors sometimes add very specific words to tell us an explanation is upcoming. This can include phrases like which means or that is or in other words. The next type of context clues is inference. Here, the word meanings are not directly described but need to be inferred from the context. Let's have examples. First, Iyana's pugnacious behavior made her opponent back down. In this sentence, since Iyana is aggressive and combative, her opponent was intimidated, reason for her not to argue with her anymore. Second example, the man gigged the large fish, but he needed his friend to enlarge the hole to drag it out of the frigid water. In this example, the man caught a large fish with the use of multi-pronged spear, which makes it hard for him to drag it out of the water. Third, all animals share the same vital needs such as food, water, and shelter. We all know that food, water, and shelter are pivotal to make an animal live. That's why we can infer that vital means important. Fourth example, the beggar was so famished that people felt sorry for her and gave her food to eat. The act of one being sorry and helpful to a person means he or she badly needs it. In the case of the sentence given, the people offered food, which may suggest that the beggar needs it and is extremely hungry. Fifth sentence, Mr. Veneracion was infuriated when the kids hit the ball through his living room window. Here, breaking one of the things a person values at home can make him extremely angry. Here's the note. Inference type of clues is a little more subtle. It usually requires readers to look beyond the sentence they're reading for understanding. Sometimes, even at the entire passage, the topic of the piece, or the illustrations. If other, more specific context clues are missing, looking for inference clues is your best bet. So there, but before we end this discussion, let us have our key takeaways. First, context clues are words or phrases within a text that help clarify vocabulary that is unknown to you. Second, there are several types of context clues including definition or restatement, synonyms, antonyms, example or explanation, and inference. Thank you for your focus and attention. I hope you learned something today. See you in the next video.